My name is Rose Blossom. You're welcome to Women's Corner. And as you know, we always talk about everything that has to do with women, issues, that trends, of course, day-to-day life and relationship and marriage. And of course, we cannot let out the children and the men. We also include them in the program. Today is quite interesting because it's something I don't think I've ever decided to discuss. But of course, because of the trending issues online, I decided to treat infidelity and trust. But just so you know, we are streaming live on all our social media platforms, at Facebook, on Twitter too, at Galaxy Television. And of course, you can download Galaxy Television app from Google Play Store or Apple Play Store and watch all of our live programs. It's good to have you again. And before I introduce my guest, I want us to go on a very short break. And right after the short break, we'll be talking about infidelity and trust in relationship and marriage. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Yes, we have our very own. She is a licensed family life therapist. She's an author, she's a speaker, she's the founder of Revive Africa Resource Center, and she's also the founder of Smart Kids and Teens Club. Florence Call Ogu, good morning. How you doing? Can we have Florence on the screen, please? Okay, well, wait for Florence to join in. Let's quickly go for our safety tips. This one is about cooking. I don't know why I decided to pick cooking on a Monday. And I know definitely Kayode will start saying, what's going on? Why do you always make us salivate? But this time around, it's not cooking tips on how to cook something. This is the cooking tips on how you can cook and still be hygienic about your cooking. So let's quickly go for that tips. We'll be right back to the studio to continue our program. Remember, we're talking about infidelity and trust. You need to actually listen to this one. But let's go for these tips. We'll be right back to the studio.
Cooking tips everyone should know. Always rinse your rice. Most types of rice have a thin layer of starch on the outside of each piece. If you don't rinse it, the rice might not absorb water properly. Some of the starches can also make the rice bitter. Also, rice often touches a lot of hands before it's bagged and placed in store shelves. Just like you should wash fruit and vegetables before cooking and eating, it's smart to give these petite grains a quick rinse. Cooking requires patience. Perhaps this is the most important cooking tip of all time. Cooking can be quick, but when it requires time, you need to let it happen. Let pans heat up properly before you add oil. Let oil heat up properly before you add food. Let food sit and brown evenly before you flip. You won't regret the time it takes when you see that delicious brown crust or charred bit, but you can't recreate it once you've rushed the process. Keep your knives sharp. In general, hone your knives after each use or every other use and sharpen them once a year. This makes cutting faster and easier on your wrist. Every time you use a knife, some of its teeth will be bent or misaligned. You hone the knife to fix them to return the teeth to their optimal position. Read the whole recipe first. That way, there are no surprises. You'll know in advance if you need to pre-melt or cook anything, or if there's something that needs to rest overnight. Prep and measure all ingredients first. Pre-chop vegetables and measure all the ingredients into small containers before you begin cooking. This can save you from forgetting ingredients or rushing around a frenzy while the stove is on. Don't crowd the pan. Whether you're searing meat or sautéing vegetables, leaving space between pieces allows them to brown and crisp. Crowding leads to soggy and steamed food. Clean as you go. You'll thank yourself later. It saves space, time, and muscle if you wash dishes as you use them, or at least soak them while you cook.
Welcome back. Yes, we have, I don't know if we have Florence now. Do we have Florence? If we have Florence, can we have her on the screen? If we have Florence ready. Do we have Florence, please? If we have Florence, can we have her on the screen? Thank you. Okay, while we wait for Florence to join in, our time is already going. What's going on? Anyways, let's quickly take that tips again right back so that we can use that to stall just a little bit for Florence to join in. I don't know, maybe it's the network issues. We're supposed to have two guests, but one is unfortunate. She had an emergency, so she could not join. And this topic is something we're not dropping. I'm not going to do the talking, but definitely something has to happen. So let's quickly go for the cooking tips again while we wait for Florence to join the Zoom link, and we'll be right back.
No. Always rinse your rice. Most types of rice have a thin layer of starch on the outside of each piece. If you don't rinse it, the rice might not absorb water properly. Some of the starches can also make the rice bitter. Also, rice often touches a lot of hands before it's bagged and placed in store shelves. Just like you should wash fruit and vegetables before cooking and eating, it's smart to give these petite grains a quick rinse. Cooking requires patience. Perhaps this is the most important cooking tip of all time. Cooking can be quick, but when it requires time, you need to let it happen. Let pans heat up properly before you add oil. Let oil heat up properly before you add food. Let food sit and brown evenly before you flip. You won't regret the time it takes when you see that delicious brown crust or charred bit, but you can't recreate it once you've rushed the process. Keep your knives sharp. In general, hone your knives after each use or every other use and sharpen them once a year. This makes cutting faster and easier on your wrist. Every time you use a knife, some of its teeth will be bent or misaligned. You hone the knife to fix them to return the teeth to their optimal position. Read the whole recipe first. That way, there are no surprises. You will know in advance if you need to pre-melt or cook anything, or if there's something that needs to rest overnight. Prep and measure all ingredients first. Pre-chop vegetables and measure all the ingredients into small containers before you begin cooking. This can save you from forgetting ingredients or rushing around a frenzy while the stove is on. Don't crowd the pan. Whether you're searing meat or sautéing vegetables, leaving space between pieces allows them to brown and crisp. Crowding leads to soggy and steamed food. Clean as you go. You'll thank yourself later. It saves space, time, and muscle if you wash dishes as you use them, or at least soak them while you cook.
All right, welcome back. Hi, good morning, Florence.
Morning. Hi, good morning, Blossom.
Thank you so much for joining. You know, it's good to have you here again after quite a long time.
Yes.
Okay, because our time is already fast spent, I would just like to
weekend.
dive into our questions already. And the first question I asked is, what constitutes infidelity for you as a therapist, a certified therapist? What do you think actually constitutes infidelity? Some people think it's just by cheating, you know, basically cheating. I think it's all wrapped around cheating, but I think there's so much more that constitutes infidelity. So for you as a certified therapist, what are the things that consist of, or you find infidelity as most, like what surrounds it that makes you define it as infidelity?
Okay. Well, I think, like you said, I think the common will be cheating, right? But going against your marital vow, I will consider that too. For instance, you had a lot of promises, you had a lot of plans, you had a lot of ideas, you had a lot of discussions with your partner before he finally said yes, or she finally said yes. Because I'm trying carefully not to make this a gender thing. Infidelity can be from the man or the woman. Okay, so going against some of the very beautiful things you said before the person gave in. if it's for the guy, I know that it's the guy that will ask. The guy must have seen some things before he asked, and the lady must have seen some things before she said yes. So if some of those things that the guy saw before he finally went ahead to ask you out or to ask for your hand in marriage, he gets into marriage and he's not seeing some of those things, it's, I call it what I ordered for versus what I got. So I mean, we can wrap it around all of that, okay? And then for the woman too, if all the fantastic things the man said to her were not the things she came to the house to meet, or she came to the marriage to meet, I mean, we can consider that as part of it. So you're definitely also breaking the boundaries of the very decisions you guys put together or you guys made before you got married. So breaking boundaries of the decisions, the reason I got into the marriage, that can also be categorized as infidelity, even if we can give it the same weight we give to adultery, right? We can't give it the same weight, but it's still part of it. It's still part of it. Denying your partner of the things that they are supposed to have in marriage, like the things that will spice up marriage, the either romance, all those other things that are supposed to make the marriage work. Denying them of that is also what would put in that category. Yeah.
Okay, so what are now the common signs? I don't want to use the common signs that people say you have or you see to know that your partner is cheating. I want to use the common signs that a lot of partner ignore, which is a sign of cheating. It's a sign of infidelity before it's blows out into maybe like adultery, like you said. It now becomes a full-blown mature infidelity when you now have to start going for therapy or trying to file for a divorce and all of that. So what are the common signs that most partners ignore, and it's just a sign, just little sign, it's a sign of cheating?
Okay, again, I like to be very careful because some of those things we may call signs may not be, they may just be personality based, okay? So I don't like to generalize these things. I may mention some things and somebody goes ahead to see those things, and those things may not actually be signs of infidelity, okay? But I'll try and think of some very consistent signs, because there are some things that will be happening so consistently that you can't just wave it as a personality thing, okay? So let's try and identify some of those things, okay? When you are having prolonged arguments or prolonged silent treatments, I mean, it's too long for comfort. Yes, you are an introvert, you want your space, but we understand the rules that governs marriage. That, I mean, the sun is not actually supposed to go down with your anger. Now, even if the sun has finally gone down, we have several suns, several days, and you are still not coming out of your shell. You are still not coming out of that not talking mood. Okay, so the question is, how are you comfortable not talking to someone that you love? How are you comfortable not? I mean, and it's almost as if using a big hammer to kill an ant, because what happened does not even warrant that. And you are just always keeping quiet when something small. It's almost as though you are even looking for that thing to happen. You literally search for something, for an excuse to keep quiet, and then the silence lingers for a long time. Okay, I think with my little experience of slightly almost 2 decades, I would say that I can't just put that under personality. He's an introvert or she's an introvert. It is too consistent, okay? So such silence, and then when you automatically or all of a sudden start complaining about things that you should look away, this person has always done this thing, and you've always seen it as okay, it's just her person, or it's just one of those things, and then it suddenly becomes a big deal, okay? Again, it may not be, but those are some of the signs we may want to look at, and holding on, trying to protect your personal things unnecessarily. Okay, so I mean, there has been several conversations on phones. Should you have access to your partner's password and all of that? Well, that also depends on the family. But if it's a family, or if it's a couple that they've always been very free with each other's password, I don't know if you're getting me. Like, we've always been free. Oh, you can go through my phone, is nothing. In fact, maybe the phone was not even passworded for a long time. In fact, since you guys got married, and all of a sudden the phone is passworded and this person is protecting it. I mean, I saw a skit some time ago where the man's phone rang. The man was in the bedroom and his phone rang, and you see the way he ran out. I mean, that was a skit, right? That was supposed to be comedy, whatever. But it was funny, and I brought that close to what we do. He just ran out of the bedroom. I mean, and the wife was like, it was just a phone call, and he collected it and took that his expensive phone to the bedroom, not even thinking that the water may touch or something. Okay, so when we have partners unnecessarily being protective of their gadgets, again, I'm not saying it's 100%. I'm just saying that may be a sign, especially if that hasn't been the case. You understand? If that hasn't been the case, or he or she has not been this protective, and it doesn't go just with being protective with the gadget. It goes with other things, other some behavior around it, how the person has been for some days. Okay, why are you talking to somebody? Oh, why are you doing this to somebody? And you're giggling. I was one. So, those little things. Yeah, so those are the things we now put together and say, okay, maybe this person is keeping something out of their gadget. So when they are very protective of their gadgets, and I don't talk about late nights, because late nights can be as a result of so many things, especially if you're in this part of the world where I am. I mean, traffic and everything. Okay, so I don't want to talk about late nights, but who knows, it's also part of it. It's also part of it. Okay, so late nights, not general, but a bit of it. Yeah, so
Okay, yes, I will totally agree with the late nights, because there are some late nights that are late nights.
yeah,
There's the late night that is Lagos traffic, right? But there are some late nights you will just be wondering, like, how can it be this late? Understand? Especially when you didn't inform your spouse that you'll be working pretty late.
Exactly.
Your closing hour is probably 5, and you're getting home by 12 or 11, and you're saying it's Lagos traffic. Which type of Lagos traffic is that?
And
Anyways,
it's happening
let me ask
almost every day, right? Almost every day.
Okay, let me ask the next question is, why do you think people actually cheat? Why do you think people cheat? I just want to understand. I know sometimes it might be some people term it as the imperfection they get from their partner, but I feel it is more than that. But for you as a therapist, you've seen a lot of people, you've handled a lot of cases. So from those cases, what are the common reasons why you think a lot of partners end up cheating with another person?
Okay, I'll try my best to identify a bit. Again, so this is basically from some of the cases I've handled. All right, some of the cases. So they are not things that I probably just thought about. They are things that, so at least they do exist somewhere. So the first one I have been able to identify, that the first reason that people cheat, as insignificant as it may sound, is this insignificant? But it's something that we probably don't pay attention to. But cheating may be a cycle, meaning that it may be something you inherited, okay, hereditary from your parent. If you have a cheating father, there's every possibility that you will cheat if you don't pay attention, if you are not intentional about it. I have seen very good men and very good women that actually didn't want to. They really didn't want to. They were very good and honest at the beginning of their marriage, but somehow something, or at some point in the marriage, there will be a demand from your past. There will be a demand from the loins which you came from. There will be a demand from your bloodline. That's why we need to intentionally call this thing out. That's why we talk about. So, okay, when you see people being drunks and all of that, you take a trip to the history and you discover that the dad was the same thing or the mom was the same thing. Okay, so some people do that because they got it from their parents unconsciously. They got it. They are literally reliving, the life that their parents lived, either a man or a woman. Another thing is it's a couple saying that the same thing I said before, like what I ordered for and what I got. Not what I got now. Maybe what I ordered for was what I got, but after some time, it began to depreciate. So you see some men say things like, she's not the sexy wife that I got married to. Again, these are no excuses. I'm just telling you the reasons why, some common reasons. I'm not saying they should be justified. I'm not saying we should indulge them. I'm not saying these excuses are valid. I'm just saying these are some of the excuses men give to say that, oh, she just had a baby and she left herself to, I mean, she's no longer sexy, she's no longer attractive, and all of that. And so I do not find her appealing anymore. I do not find her attractive. She's not seducing, all those things. So they want to go after the slim looking, and that spec, because this person is no longer their spec. And that's why I tell people, when you get married to a spec, please look at the 20 years of that same spec, if those things will still be there. But apparently some men get carried away, and the same thing with some women, they get carried away and they don't look into the future of all of these things. Okay, if a woman just had a baby, of course there will be some kind of this configuration. I don't know if that's the word to use. I mean, her shape and everything will take time to heal and get back to how it used to be. But apparently some people cannot hold on to that. Okay, another reason will be that, okay, she's paying more attention to the child. Okay, so some people will say, well, I'm going out to treat men. I have a side chick because my wife is not giving me sex. She now pays a lot of attention to our baby and all of that. Two ways. While I work with some women to say that there's always a way you can go about this to keep your marriage going, while you are breastfeeding or you are going through your maternity stage. And then we also say to the men that it is not an excuse to go out. We understand that it is just going to be for a while. Okay, but trust me, because some men will be of the opinion that they can't keep themselves together, that's why they are going out. Then let me mention one for the women also. You hear some women saying that he doesn't take care of himself anymore. You see, this matter of taking care of oneself, it's not just for the women, it's not just for the men. The women too feel it. I've seen women that will say that, oh, he stinks. When he comes close, he's smelling, he doesn't take care of his armpits, he just leaves himself. So I mean, he's not fresh. And there's a guy in my office that just comes close to my laptop and he's trying to do some things on the laptop, and then I can perceive, and he just does something like that. He doesn't gym, he doesn't take care of himself, he's been on one pack forever, and then this guy has got 6 packs. So when you have someone that, you will be shocked that a lot of women just, I mean, these are their fantasies, and they just feel that their spouse is becoming so complacent, their spouse is not willing to step up. So they just find themselves getting attracted to that other person, and that's what it's just. It's spark of attraction, and before you know it, you feed the attraction. You say hello, you say hi, and then you see this person consistently, because consistency, seeing someone consistently also feeds that attraction, and then you just keep going and keep going, and the person is your spec. Before you know it, you take it to another level. Okay, so these are some of the reasons. People cheat, and of course, association. If you move with a group of people that believes that you shouldn't be eating one set of meal over and over, like it's boring to be eating rice again and again, you will really want to check out beans. That's it. So company or association matters a lot. A lot of people that have come to the office to say that, oh yes, I cheated, oh, it was just a careless statement from my friends when we went for a drink. They were just saying that, oh, why should I be eating a bar every day? Why don't I try something else? Okay, and so before you know it, curiosity just leads the cat to where it shouldn't be. So I mean, these are
curiosity kills the cat.
yeah.
Okay, now I love the fact what you said. With all you have said, you talked about the ones that maybe you like the figure, she was slim, now bigger because she got married and gave birth, and the ones with the 6 packs, but he's been eating very good food and now he has a little bit of
No packs.
belly, maybe not so much, but yes. Do you think emotional unfaithfulness is another part of cheating, infidelity? Do you think that is?
Okay, so just to understand what you mean, emotional unfaithfulness, do you mean emotional unavailability also, not feeding the emotional bank? Yes, of course, that is it. So everybody have their own love language, and unfortunately sometimes we don't pay attention to it. It's like feeding what works. It's like feeding what makes this person spark, what makes this person excited. So I think that when people decide not to be available to their spouse, to their partners emotionally, it's I think that's even the fastest, right? I think that's the fastest because that's something you have to deal with. You are with that reality every day. You come back, you dress up, and you expect this person to compliment what you're putting on, and the person doesn't. You go to the office, and another person is saying, "Oh, you look beautiful." Another person is saying you have a beautiful tie, but you left the house where your wife didn't even notice the color of the tie. That's because your love language is words of affirmation, and you're not getting it. You're not getting it. So you're running on dry, like empty tank consistently. Act of service. Oh, because you say you are the odogle of the home, you're not assisting your wife in doing anything. And it's as simple as just helping her. She goes to the office and someone is helping her out with some documents, and then she's like, is this not a man? Or she goes to see her friend, and then the friend's husband is helping and all of that. She just feels drained and dry because she feels, oh, I am not getting all of these things. I'm running on low. So definitely, and truth is, I consider it one of the biggest things that takes people out, because it's something that you can't even show. You're dying inside. Your partner is not there to touch you. Your partner is not there to talk to you. Your partner is not there to even play with you, to spend quality time with you. So anyone that fits your emotional account, that makes consistent deposits, you bond with that person. Okay, you bond with that person, and the person happens not to be your spouse, you bond with that person. Again, like we always say, is that an excuse? No, that's not an excuse. That's why you should seek help. But then this is one of the reasons. So you are very correct. Emotional unfaithfulness or emotional insatisfaction, it's definitely one of the reasons that people
Thank you very much for that response. Now, I love the demonstration you give. What you said. You said if they continue to keep depositing in your emotional account, you definitely, of course, someone that keeps giving you money, you will tend to want to always be in favor of that person. You always want to just listen to that person. When the person calls, you're ready to go for it. So when someone is feeding you emotionally and your partner is not doing that, there is a very high tendency that you are already, cheating on your partner. Okay, because of our time, I want to ask this one before we go, because a lot of people have gone through this one time breaking of trust, one time cheating, one time emotional. But they say something, once beaten, twice shy. That's another one. Is experience is the best teacher, and there is always a first time. So once you do it the first time, most people believe that there is always a second, there's a third, there's a fourth, and on and on and on. So it's as good as don't even do it once, because once you start, you don't even know when you continue. But for those who have had the first time and don't want to go back there, and of course the person, the partner, the other partner, you've broken her trust or his trust, and they are ready and willing to build up back. As a certified therapist, what are the steps, very quickly, what are the steps that that the couples need to take to be able to heal, to build their trust again, and to also avoid the temptations?
Okay, so quickly, thank you so much for that question. So quickly, I will definitely encourage them to see a therapist, because 1-2 points will not take it. Because one of the things to have a change, a lasting change, we need to go to the root cause. We need to know why it happened at first, and then 1 or 2 points cannot give that. Okay, that's why I would recommend. Okay, I don't like to give microwave, but of course I will give some things. But then the first thing I would say, please, they should look for a nearby therapist, at least someone to work with the two of them, because we need to know why. We need to know the why. If the why is not addressed, that's what repeats itself. Okay, but the beautiful first thing is that at least the partner is involved. So because secrecy is what leads to another time. The fact that you already told your partner about it, trust me, it will almost be impossible for you to do it again. But the basic thing now is to build trust again, so that the partner will begin to trust this person, and so that this person doesn't go back to doing it. Okay, so that's why I would say that they should talk to a counselor, or a therapist, so they can help them see the reason, where was this person lacking that made this person to go all out to do that, or what were the things you saw, what got you attracted, what got you distracted. Okay, so yes, they should see a therapist, and then the other party should forgive genuinely. Forgiveness isn't easy, but it's possible. Forgive genuinely. Forgive genuinely. The fact that this person finally told you about it means they actually feel helpless and they want to stop it. Just forgive. If you don't forgive, you guys may not be able to move on. Yes, he or she has offended you. Yes, it's like a boundary has been broken, trust has been broken. But the question is, do you love this person more than your feelings, more than what you feel now? Do you really still see this person as the person you want to grow old with? So you need to learn intentionally to forgive. And one of the ways I would tell people to quickly forgive is to talk about how you feel. Talk to your partner exactly how you feel, and that's why I say maybe a therapist anchoring the session for you will help. If you intentionally, like there's something we call it in therapy, just let it out. Just tell your partner exactly what that action did to you. So if you are able to really let it out, that's when you absolutely forgive. So learn to forgive and then intentionally build trust again, and then do a lot of the things that you were not doing before. For instance, you guys should date more often. Have what you call the open day. Open day is when the two of you come and then you are talking. Okay, open day in marriage where you just talk about everything and all of that, and then do well to do a review every day you come back from work. Maybe you guys go to work and you come back. Just make sure you keep the communication line open, and I'm sure it will help you guys gradually. But more importantly, I think you guys should talk to a therapist to help you anchor the process.
Okay. Thank you very much. Just one more question. This one pops into my mind while you were saying, there are some, I will not say expert cheaters, I will not use that, but there are some persons that would cheat on their partner and they are so good in covering up that the partner would never even know, and they will cheat, they will keep cheating, probably still keep changing women and all of that. Now eventually, maybe at a point they felt, okay, I've changed, I don't want to do that anymore, and they stop cheating. What would you advise the partner to do? To go ahead and confess to the wife, or just keep it dead and buried?
That's a tricky one. Okay, that's a tricky one. Again, it depends on the kind of wife and the kind of marriage they have. All right. So even if you will not talk to your wife, maybe you at least talk to a therapist, and the therapist will see. Because why I'm saying this is that there are certain things the therapist will see. If it's going to be a problem in the future, that person will tell you that, okay, I think it's important. So what if you now meet one of those cheats that you did in 5 years ago, and your wife didn't know that something like this existed 5 years ago, and you understand? So that would be a shocker. That would be a big one. Okay, so I would suggest that even if you don't tell your partner immediately, you at least talk to the person you guys are working with. At some point, your partner may have to know, depending on. I think it's just important, because if you need to start afresh, you need to start on a clean slate. So it's important, because you may run into the person later in life. You may just, and the person will give you date, and the date was not the one you did the last time. So just to be safe, if you are now a new person, you have nothing to hide. Be totally new. Like, take it from the scratch, and then just know that she's forgiving me together, not partly. Okay. So I would think that the person says it. Yeah. I will respect that.
Okay, so definitely this is for both men and women. If you know you have done it in the past and you were never caught, please find a way to talk to your husband, so you start on a new plate. Yes. This is a certified therapist telling you, so it's always best, because like you said, how about she encounters that woman, or she encounters that man somewhere where you have your partner, your attitude, your aura, everything just gives off this vibe of something is wrong with my wife, something is wrong with my husband. So to avoid such uncertain circumstances, it's better you try to be very open and of course build your trust, like you said, which is very important. And like I said, I have a lot of questions, but we could not talk about that. We are still supposed to talk about trust, but our time is already fast spent. Obviously, I'm going to bring Florence Carl Ogu again to the program to talk about trust. Now, we've dealt a little bit about infidelity. Now we're going to talk about the trust, which is the process of healing and building up your relationship and marriage again. Right. At this point, I'll say thank you very much, Florence.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. You're always spitting fire as usual, as always. It's so painful that you could not come to the studio, but still, it was still very impactful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and that's it for Florence Carl Ogu. She is a licensed family life therapist. She's an author. She's a speaker, founder of Revive Afrique Resource Center. She's the founder of Smart Kids and Teens Club. That is all we can take today on Women's Corner. I want you to remember, There are a lot of things she said, but while we are talking about these things in marriage and relationship, remember that you have to have empathy, you have to have an open mind, and you have to be able to communicate. You have to listen, you have to hear. Some people listen, they don't hear. Some people hear, they don't listen. It's two things, they work together. I don't know if you're missing a lot of this episode, you might not understand what I'm trying to say, but for relationship and marriage to work, you need all of these things, and that is why we're here. Up next is the buzz. Today we're talking about politics, the state and affairs of the country, you know, the fuel hike, a lot of things, the flooding, everything is coming to your screen again on the buzz. But before the buzz, we'll be having news on the hour, of course, with from the news, and definitely we'll have the buzz. It's still me, your girl, that'll be hosting that program. So until then, when I'll be joining you by 12, do have a beautiful day, and bye for now.